Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Confidence After Cancer. And I'm talking about a subject I've talked about before, but it's so important. And I really think at this time of the year as well, I'm hearing a lot of stuff about new year, new me, and all this nonsense. And I really want to give my take on that because I think it's very easy to throw yourself at this time of the year, maybe into a new diet, a new way of being, some new habits that you want to introduce, and try and change everything. And it can get really, really overwhelming. So, I want to talk about baby steps, little steps, 30 days to self care, explaining why it's important, and give you a little tool that maybe you can use. A lot of suggestions on there. You know me, I'm never going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to make quite a few suggestions of little things that you want to do that will help improve your self care. And I'm going to talk about why self care is so important. And it's a term that is bandied about a lot. Is it bubble baths? Is it just going and having an early night? And I think it's so much, much more than that. Okay. I really believe, for me, I'm coming up to almost 17 years since my cancer diagnosis, and I'm very in a different place now. I'm a different person from that woman who got that diagnosis. And I've had to learn a lot of stuff. I've had to learn a lot about lifestyle. I've had to change a lot of my habits. But one of the biggest things was introducing self care and, more importantly, self love, self worth, and self respect that I think for a long time was missing in my life. I've had to work on that and introduce new habits into my life. And I'm very open about that. And I'm happy to share with anybody because now in my work as a cancer recovery coach, I speak to so many people, particularly women who don't particularly like themselves, who have a bit of an undercurrent of self-loathing. And I think approaching self-care or approaching changes in your habits, changing changes in your diet, approaching changes in your exercise or movement, if you're not doing it from a place of self-love, it can feel like a punishment. And this, introducing new habits shouldn't be about punishment. It should be about caring for yourself, the beautiful, wonderful, flawed as we all are, but the gorgeous person that you are, that deserves to be loved, that deserves to be cared for. And I really believe if you can't love and care for yourself, then how do you expect to have a relationship with anybody else when you haven't got that foundation of a relationship with yourself? I think for me, it starts with caring for yourself before you can care for anybody else. And sometimes self care is seen as something that's a bit selfish and a bit self indulgent, maybe even narcissistic. But I don't think it's that at all. I think it's about being honest, accepting us for where we are, our flaws and all. I'm thinking, okay, this is not where I want to be. Maybe. Where do you want to be in 12 months' time? Rather than thinking, yeah, I'm going to lose 12 pounds in 2 weeks. And I've done those crazy diets before, but now I'm all about nurturing myself, encouraging self care, caring for myself, being kind to myself, even when I make a mistake, as we all make mistakes, but really indulging myself in self care and self respect and self worth. And that's where it all starts from. So, self care, I think, is important for anybody, but particularly for a cancer survivor or anybody who's navigating life after a significant challenge. And sometimes it can take that diagnosis or that bad time that you're going through to actually, for life to slap you in the face and say, look, what you're doing at the minute is not working. There's nothing wrong with you, but take the lesson and learn from it and think about what you can do. Okay. So, as I said before, thinking about self care, I really don't believe it's selfish or self indulgent. And I really believe that good self care leads to self worth, showing yourself some respect. And that can really support physical, emotional, and mental well being. I'm not into this, it's January, let's chuck out everything that we're doing and everything's different and new now. And I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to really sort my diet out, all these habits. No, I really believe in small, consistent habits build up to significant change. And I've talked about this before, the fact that I read a book once called The 1%, but it was basically saying if you improve what you're doing by 1%. So, for instance, think about your diet, whatever your diet is now. If you just improve that by 1% every day over a year, that's 365% improvement. And it's the same with any bad habit that you might have or anything that you want to change. Baby steps every day, but being consistent. Because if you make these massive changes, and I've done this myself, you make the massive changes, it is so hard to stick to. And the minute that something comes into your life that either stresses you out or takes you out of your routine, kind of goes out the window. Whereas if you've got these small habits that support you and make you feel good, it's a lot easier to keep them going. So I've got a download for you, and it's got 30 suggestions of things that you might want to think about for self-care. If you think about your 30-day plan, 30 days is a good amount of time to be setting some new habits. It's not overnight. It's a doable, achievable amount of time for you to think about, oh yeah, in 30 days, I could really instill a new habit that I want to. So first of all, I think about week one, if your 30-day plan being about reflection and awareness, thinking about where you are now. Now, this is not about judgment. This is not about beating yourself up saying, oh God, you really messed up there, or look at the state of you, or, you know, you're so overweight, or you're so unfit. Whatever. This is not any of that. It's saying, where am I now? Where do I want to be? What are the areas that need attention? And if you think, well, actually, there's too many, pick one or two to start with. What are the most important things to you? What's going to make you feel better quickly? I know for myself, over Christmas, I didn't go to the gym for 2 weeks. I ate so much cheese, chocolate, wine, lovely things to eat, but I know they're not making me feel any better. And not just physically that they're not making me feel better. I know mentally, I know that I'm not caring for myself in the way that I should. It's not about guilt. I've let that go. I'm just thinking, yeah, it was lovely for short term, but long term, if I eat that sort of food every day for the rest of my life, I'm not going to have a very healthy or long life. And I'm not going to be happy when I get ill again. So, what are the things that I can do? So, first of all, assess your current habits, identify the areas that need attention. I find it really helpful to journal. So, journaling prompts you might want to ask yourself are, what drains me and what energizes me? Two good questions. Think about how you're spending your time. What are the things that you're doing? Do they drain you? Do they energize you? So, in the 30-day plan, week 2 could be thinking about building new habits. So, I would focus, and again, these are suggestions. If it works for you, that's fine. If it doesn't, think about something different. For me, a focus on my hydration, nutrition, and gentle movement. And I'm going to do that by setting realistic, measurable goals. For instance, drinking 2 litres or 4 pints of water a day. And that's something that's really easy not to do, but it's easy to do as well. And I've got a little tracker, so I tick off when I've drank my water, and it keeps me accountable. So week 3 is prioritizing rest and relaxation. Now, the ladies' gym that I go to is very good, and we've got some really good health coaches there as well. And as much as, yes, they want you to get into the gym 3 times a week, they're also really encouraging you to rest, recover, and recuperate. And so prioritizing your rest and relaxation is crucial, I think, to your self-care. That doesn't mean you're doing nothing. It means you're giving your body what it needs. It's like good quality sleep. When you are getting good quality sleep, that is not you doing nothing. It's not you being lazy. It's giving your body the chance to do what it needs to do, to recover, to regenerate, to renew your cells. This is what your body does overnight if you give it the right conditions. And sleep is so important, and it's got to be quality sleep. Looking at my phone before I go to bed is a no-no because it activates my brain too much. I like to drift off listening to a meditation. Whatever works for you, you might want to listen to music, you might want to read a book, but prioritizing your rest and relaxation is so important. So think about techniques like mindfulness, like meditation, or like breath work. There's so much of this that you can find online to help you with that. And then week 4, I'd really invite you to think about connecting with joy and community. So what sparks joy? Think about activities that spark joy for you, and reconnect with your loved ones or build supportive networks. And when we all used to send Christmas cards, I remember saying, oh, I'm sending Christmas cards again to this person that I really like and somebody that I love very much and I want to see more of, saying we really must get together soon. But life sometimes gets in the way, doesn't it? So it's just thinking and being mindful of that and thinking, okay, it's the changes that I can make where I could reconnect better with people that I love. How can I build supportive networks? I'm really fortunate where I live. I joined a yoga social group last year. And so it helped me to be part of a local community. I met some lovely ladies. We go for yoga and then go for a glass of wine or a soft drink afterwards. And just connecting with like-minded people is a very nurturing thing to do for yourself. Get out there. Sometimes it's good to get out of your own head, especially if you've got problems or challenges. Connecting with other people, thinking about them, where are they at, can really help as well. So when you're thinking about changing any habits like that, just maybe worth spending a few minutes, 10 minutes, thinking about obstacles that might get in your way. So when you've tried to make a change before, what got in the way? Was it that you feel guilty spending time on yourself? Was it that you think, well, actually, my house is a mess and I should be doing this and I should be doing that? Or, my children need me. But actually, your family and your friends and your loved ones need you to be your best self. The saying is you can't pour from an empty cup. And the other saying that I really like as well, if you think about when you're on an aeroplane and they taught you through the safety demonstration, and they always say, put your own life jacket on first. Because before you can help anybody else, you've got to help yourself. If you come from a place of strength, of feeling good about yourself and feeling your self-worth, because you are worthy, I know you are. And think about lack of motivation as well. That has been an obstacle for me in the past. So think about strategies as well that might help you stay on track. So one thing might be like an accountability buddy. It might just be a mate that you talk to online or on the phone and saying, oh yeah, I said I was going to go to the gym 3 times this week. Yeah, well, it's day 2 today and I'm going. Done. Yeah. And likewise, make that reciprocal. You be there for somebody else as well. Going to the gym with a partner, going to an exercise class with somebody else is a really good way of keeping accountable, because you don't want to let that other person down. You'll be a little bit more inclined to let yourself down. Okay. The other thing is tracking progress. And I've talked about this before, having a journal. But my lovely friend Becky bought me this, my daily self-care journal for Christmas. And it's I talk about gratitude. I don't always remember to do it, but this is my daily thing now, to write down what are 3 things that I'm grateful for in my life right now. How can I start my day off on a positive note? What can I do today to make a positive difference in somebody else's life? But do, again, as I say, think about the obstacles, but come from a place of self-compassion and flexibility. Life will get in the way. Sometimes people are sick, challenges get thrown up. You might have to go and do something you weren't expecting to do. It's not the end of the world if you have a day off from doing what you want to do. The other thing I'd invite you to do is think about celebrating small wins that will help you maintain momentum. Okay. So celebrate your progress, big yourself up, share it online. Hopefully you've got good social media. And I used to be one of these people who first thing in the morning look at my phone. Oh, I've got any emails? Have I got this? I've got any messages? And I know that's important sometimes if you've got a busy job or if you're self-employed. But actually now I've made a conscious effort for my morning routine to be very different, because I know if I start my day well, I have a better day. And the other thing that I'm conscious of, somebody said to me once, oh, I don't like Facebook anymore. It's full of doom and gloom. And I thought, who are you following? You are choosing to follow people who are doom and gloom. I'm not saying that everybody needs to be happy all the time, but there are keyboard warriors, as they call, who like to moan about everything, like to have an argument with people. I just don't follow those people anymore. So I don't think social media is inherently bad or good, but I think the way that we use it can be terrible sometimes and not good for our own mental health. So it's about protecting, for me, it was about protecting my mental health. I don't want to follow people that I see bad behavior, if you like. People speaking to each other on social media the way they would never speak to each other in real life. So I just don't follow them anymore. And I look at my social media and it's inspiring. I follow people who inspire, who uplift me, who share interesting things, talk about films that they've watched, talk about books that they've read, travel. I love travel, little pictures and descriptions of people's holiday. I've got a really good friend who's in Thailand at the minute, somewhere that's on my bucket list. I've never been to Thailand, and I'm loving her photos and the descriptions of where she's been every day. That uplifts me, that inspires me, makes me better. So yes, I will make some time to look at that later on, but it's not the first thing that I look at every day. Okay. So think about your self-care being not something that you're going to do as a separate thing. It's part of your lifestyle. Make some time for it. And it can be simple, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day. Because once you start on that, spending some time realizing that you're worth it, that you are worthy, it has a ripple of better self-care. You have better energy, you have better mood, better relationships. If you're making better choices for yourself, it does have ripple effects, and it impacts on so many areas of your life. So I've said before, this is not a selfish thing. This is all about, we're all here for a short time. We should be enjoying our life a lot more than I see so many people doing. And again, I'm not here to judge, because I'm talking to myself here as well, thinking about overthinking problems, dwelling on the past, dwelling on mistakes. No, my love, show yourself some compassion. Talk to yourself in the way you would talk to a good friend. So I would love to hear from you. If you've got any challenges about self-care, anything that I've talked about today, please get in touch with me. There will be a link somewhere around this podcast notes where you can download my self-care flashcards. They're just a little graphic that you can download onto your phone or whatever device you listen or watch with. And they're just some ideas of things that you could do every day, 30 ideas that you could do over your 30 days that will increase your self-care. And you like some of them more than others, and that's absolutely fine. Okay. So I just really want to leave you by saying self-care isn't a luxury. It's not something you'll do when you've got more time or when you're in a better job or when you've lost. It's about today. It's not a luxury. It's how you show up for yourself and the world. And I know you're worth it. I know you are. And I just want to say as well that self-care is just one fraction of the broader concept of self-love. And I know this is so many people struggle with. Self-acceptance, start with that before you get to self-love. And so many people I know so critical of themselves, so hard on themselves. But I'd invite you to think about recognizing your own self-worth, being kind towards yourself, fostering your self-growth through the course of your life. And if you find it difficult to spend time on self-care, it might be because you're not being kind enough to yourself. Thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me. As I say, around these podcast notes, there will be a link that you can click down and get the 30 days to self-care ideas. Thank you for listening, and let's speak very soon. Take care, love. Stay safe and stay sane. Bye-bye.